So I want to talk about online events and their importance as a function of brokerage. So ideally, what does it look like? Well, quite simply, we want online events to be visibly baked into the DNA of how people connect across the platform. And when we're talking about events, I'm talking about things like Q&As, hacks, team meetings, live updates, even things like working out loud, that there's a point in time that we come together, that we share, we educate, we progress, we solve, and then we learn and we go away, right? So it's about bringing people together. Now, essentially what this does is it gives people points to connect and engage, and we want to see a lot of those points in day-to-day life of our community. And it develops an awareness of who's who. And it provides context also then for an interaction to follow. So if I learn who you are through these sort of online events, then I'm more likely to actually reach out and connect after the event itself and to exchange them. And really, it helps develop trust and incentivizes participation by providing access to relevant information, to subject matter experts and leaders, and it also invites us to join something that is bigger than ourselves. So it starts to bring about this collective sense of identity and this belonging to something bigger, and that's really important. So how do you know if it needs work? Well, really simply, they could be totally missing, or maybe you've had one or two events, but it's kind of, they're the exception rather than the rule. Or some events happen, but then they stop and then they start again. So you kind of have this sporadic event, and then nothing, and then event. So it's not really in the fabric of the community. That's what you're looking for. How endemic are these events within our community? Are they part of everyday business? So what's the impact of not having this right with the community? Well, essentially, intelligence remains trapped in people's heads because they're unable to get it out. Important conversations are missed or never even had. People remain unaligned, actually, because there's something about the transparency of an event that really aligns behaviours at scale. So it becomes quite an important one. It lessens the sense of collective identity that we touched on before. And interpersonal connections become weaker because they don't have as many opportunities to interact and to build. Incentive drops and trust drops as well, and they're big things. So we really want to get this right. So what are the causes of this happening? Well, essentially, there's no organizing function, there's no governance, or people don't understand the value of them or how to organize them. The other one is they can be seen as too scary or too hard. So then, if that's the case, how do we respond? Realistically, look, we review the team and the business communication priorities to develop an online event calendar. Now, the way that I do about it is I'll make sure that there's an event creation and management as part of our education program. So we take away the barriers as well. I'll then create a roster of leaders or subject matter experts to run real-time Q&A. So this is how I start to evolve my calendar. But I make sure the education's in place and I've got certain people on the hook to actually drive these events. The other thing that we'll do is I'll look to build online events as part of the team's weekly and monthly cycle. So this can be about team events, those sorts of things. So if you know those events are happening, it becomes really easy to crowdsource an agenda at the beginning or to put up meeting minutes at the end, right? And this is how you start to build these events in as part of your business as usual piece. A couple of tips as you're going through this process. Look for the existing events, right? Town halls, team meetings, those things, and look at how you can leverage that activity within the online context. It just takes a lot of the work out of it if they're already doing it anyway, right? Decide if the event will happen in a thread or a group or across the network. That's the other thing too. If you're doing a Q&A, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. I think it's good to have a group. I think it's good to have a thread, but each their own. Support leaders when running Q&A sessions too, because quite often when it's coming in, it's really intense, right? So have a room. We set up like a kind of almost a war room or a communications hub where we've got a number of people sitting with that leader that are helping answering questions as they come up. It takes the work off it. It lets them feel that they're not alone, that they're not being thrown to the wolves. Also push a hash strategy with your events. It's really useful if you've got a hashtag strategy because it allows you to then go back historically and see what were the events we ran, what were the outcomes, those sorts of things. Any more information that you're after, please feel free to join the conversation at BiddleAccelerator.com. You can also reach out through Twitter. Please use the BiddleAccelerator hashtag, or you can email us directly at askus@BiddleAccelerator. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later.